Beautiful.
My dude said, I don't have a kick account. No! All right.
Am I gonna get you guys banned or something?
Everybody in the chat. Yo, tag. You can't even tag you. You don't got an account. All right, everybody in the chat, just put hashtag no kick. Poor man, no kick account. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Predcast, episode number 32. We do have pretty stacked guests right now, quite frankly. As you guys know, we got our usual cast. We got two special guests. Everybody knows, by all means, we got the champ in the house. We got Pinzo in the house. I'll let them introduce themselves. We are going to go into conversations about the current state of the game. We're going to go a little bit on the casual side as well as conversations. We will have a portion also that goes into more community questions that might be typed live, or we'll grab a couple from Reddit. We saw a nice post in there that we might reach into. But in the meantime, let's get our intros going. If we could actually just start with the champ. Let's start with Ace, then we'll do Pinzo, Joey Bearded, and myself. Take it off.
Hey guys, most of you may know me as RGSace, but I'm Robbie, founder and CEO of Omeda Studios. I don't know what else to say. I guess you guys will learn more about me as we continue the conversation, but I'll keep it brief. I'm scared I might leak something, so I gotta keep.
No, keep at it, bro. Hey, don't stop on our account, dude. He said it's so humble too. He's like, oh, I'm just CEO. Nice to meet you guys. How you doing? All right, go ahead, Pinzo.
Yeah, I'm Pinzo. If you know me, you know me. If you don't, you live under a rock. Been here before. I'm kind of a pro.
I'm kind of a pro. All right. Joey.
Oh, it's my turn. Oh yeah, so I get it's just usually I'm a content creator over on Predecessor doing like daily videos. So favorite cool thing about today especially is that I'm originally a Paragon player. That's kind of like the first MOBA that really got me into MOBAs. And of course, being a big fan of Paragon back in the day, I watched a bunch of other content creators like RGSace. And it's not me trying to like kiss up to him right now. This is me trying to give context when I said that this whole conversation we're about to have is very surreal for me, to say the least. Going from a fan of Paragon to now I'm a content creator talking to Wabi, who I used to watch a ton back in the day. So I'm very excited for today.
I am also excited. I've been gone for work, so didn't even get to stream Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So I haven't even had a chance to play Pred, but this is all I've been thinking about, because this is the one I'm coming back to. This is my first stream coming back from being gone from work. Excited. So I get it, Joey. Completely understand. But what's going on, everybody? Inside the Bearded Wolverine, your Michigan Wonder. Very excited, as I was just saying, to get this show to you. This is our first kick stream as an affiliate. So real quick shout out to Lesharon. Already got a sub up there. That's awesome. Love to see it. Thank you for the support. And love to see all of you here. The numbers that are coming in here to have this conversation with all of us. Great to see it. I can't wait to get even further into this, but we have to let Windu talk about himself for a second. So let's go ahead, Windu.
Damn, why you gotta say it like that? What the fuck? Yo. But what's up, guys? I am Windu, also known as Winduthemace. Yo, by the way, Joey, shout out to your intros, bro. I feel like your intros are getting better every single fucking time, bro. But yeah, much like Joey, started off in the Paragon days. I've talked to Ace plenty times before. Like, it's not like it's the first time that we've been on comms together, but I was even telling the guys, like, yo, Loki, I'm a little nervous. I don't know. I don't even know why. It's not like it's a first time chatting. But yeah, appreciate everybody being here, whether you're a viewer, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether it be Ace, Pinzo. I really appreciate everybody coming by. And thankfully, we got pretty spicy subjects to talk about. I'll stop talking about myself. I want to actually give the stage to Joey, because we're going to go right in. Joey's got a couple questions that he wants to ask specifically. So let's start there.
Yeah, so before we kind of talk a little bit more about the Predecessor topics, I just kind of want to get to know you a little bit more about you as a person, kind of like, so for everyone else to know as well. So kind of like one of the first questions I want to start off with is, how exactly did you get into gaming, and what's some of your favorite games when you were growing up?
How did I get into gaming? I think I got into gaming in like primary school, which is like before you're like around 8 or 9.
Maybe like middle school.
On RuneScape. You guys had a RuneScape?
Bro,
Yeah.
my dude said he was in typing class on RuneScape. Okay, I see you. Okay.
I got into gaming through RuneScape, and then one of my friends showed me like some other games. This game called Continuum, which was like a spaceship shooter game. Played that for a bit, and then I got into StarCraft. I think StarCraft 2 came out sometime when I was in my like teens. Started playing a lot of StarCraft. Got into Call of Duty as well, and then from Call of Duty, I think I came into Paragon. So I would play Call of Duty a lot. Like it was really popular in school, high school. And then I was really just looking for something else and kind of came across Paragon.
Right. So was Paragon like the first ever MOBA you encountered?
Yeah, I played League of Legends a little bit. But like I had tried that game like 5 times, kind of uninstalled it. It was really like the tutorial back then was rough. So yeah, Paragon was like the first MOBA that I like really invested time into.
Nice. So yeah, so just in the next question, so we know you of course as a content creator for Paragon, we know you as a CEO for Omeda Studios right now. So I think the one thing people really don't know is what's exactly you've been up to between that. So right after Paragon shut down, what's exactly you've been doing and how that sort of led up to you being the CEO for Omeda Studios?
Yeah, so when Paragon shut down, I was I was at a finance company, like asset management. So I was working in finance, and then I was like studying for some financial exams. I was also really interested in esports at the time, so I went and did growth at an esports betting company, helped grow that company. I was like the first growth employee there and helped grow it quite big. I think they're like 70 people now. So I did that for about 2 years until we closed our seed round for Predecessor. So yeah, and I think most people probably know, but basically throughout those 2 years while I was working at the esports betting company, and no, it wasn't CSGO betting, it was like legitimate, it was proper betting, like it was regulated by the UK Gambling Commission. And during those 2 years was when I was working on Predecessor, just kind of like as a hobby with kind of Steven and Andrea.
Nice.
I'm shocked you called him Steven, bro. Go ahead, Joey. Go ahead.
Okay, and so on that note, right around the time you sort of started Omeda Studios, of course we know how you guys were able to raise $20+ million for the game, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, you were like the main guy that went out to these investors and trying to like did these kind of like pitches and trying to like convince them to invest in this game. Am I right?
Yeah. So I pretty much did all the pitching, and I did it by myself. So it was just me pitching by myself. Yeah.
So by yourself, you were able to raise $20 million by yourself. How many investors?
It wasn't really. I mean, I pitched by myself, but it was like we had like a really huge advantage because we had like you guys, the community, right? So it was like fairly easy. Like I don't know if anyone knows this, but one of the videos that I showed to the investors, I was like, hey, don't even read like anything. Let me just show you this video, right? And it's got like Winduthemace talking about the game and like all these other content creators just having a blast. And I think that's what really resonated with people. So yeah, I went in by myself, but I like leveraged the community to really kind of show these investors that look, it's not just me that cares about it. There's a whole community of people that really care about kind of what we're building, and look how much fun they're having. Look how invested they are. And I think, investors are humans at the end of the day. They see other people happy, they want that feeling as well. And so it made it much easier.
Wow. So you pretty much did the whole show rather than tell. Like you kind of just show like, hey, you have all these people really enjoying the game. And that was enough to like be able to convince all these investors. That is so cool that as a community, we were to be part of that process.
Yeah.
Wow. I will say that's also clever. Like he's like, hey man, y'all don't got to start from the bottom. Look what's already going on. I'm just saying, y'all get to hop on for the ride. That's dope.
Exactly.
Yeah. I had no idea that he like videos from like just random people playing. That's actually good.
So Joey pointed out to me that you were on a podcast a little while ago, and I think it was actually around the pandemic. Actually, the big time podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
So I listened to it. Yep. So I listened to it, and I loved what you said about how you went about the investors. how you said you went out and you gave your pitch to the investors, and then you asked for feedback, and you're like, all right, well, why'd you say no? And then you got all that feedback, and you used it to be able to grow with other investors. And you did. So hearing that story was great. And for anybody who hasn't looked it up, you can look at it's called It's Big Time, right, Joey, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it was made back in 2020.
Right.
I sort of like where I got some inspiration from some of these questions. I listened to that podcast very recently again, and there was just some really cool insights that I kind of got from that I kind of want to show a little bit more on this kind of like segment of the show for editors to know.
Anyways, I would go check it out. It's a great listen. You did a great job on there, Robbie. It definitely gave me a little more insight, even as a content creator myself. I was like, oh, that's a very good way to understand how our game kind of got to where it is.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
I got a quick question as far as the casual side of things before we get too deep into Predecessor. How did you even come across Smokey? Like, how did that relationship, how did you guys run into each other?
Yeah, he was streaming on Twitch, and then I think I joined I think I wrote in chat or something. And then he DM'd me after the stream, and he was like, how do I get you involved? And we spoke a little bit, and I didn't really obviously at the time there were a lot of projects trying to recreate Paragon. And for me, I really wanted to invest my time in something that was actually going to become something. So I convinced them to hey, let me become CEO, and I will go and get funding for us. I'll really shape the vision, help you guys build an actual company. And so that was kind of how it all started.
I see. All right. Shout out to Smokey, bro. He said, hey, let's be real. Let's make it work. What do you got to do? What do we got to do? That's awesome. That's sweet to hear.
I mean, definitely deliver on your promise, just coming in with $20 million for the game. So there you go.
Yeah, I think my promise is still yet to be fulfilled, but we're taking steps towards it.
TBD.
Yeah.
Any?
So I just.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, what you guys saying now?
And I was gonna say any other casual questions while we're on the subject. Pinzo hasn't really said much.
I actually got two quick ones from now. So I actually totally forgot. This is probably the most simple question I can ask, but I never thought of. So how you guys come up with the name Predecessor? I don't know if you guys mentioned why you designed that name.
Yeah, you'll have to ask Sergeant Smokey, because I think when originally he came up with it, he was it's set before Paragon. It kind of makes sense, right? Because Paragon's dead, right? So you can't really set it after. So I think that was his idea. But yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, so this is my kind of my last question before we kind of move on to the Predecessor topics. And so from that kind of interview that Bearder brought up, one of the biggest things that kind of stood out to me was you hear this kind of topic where content creators will talk about Predecessor and how at least they hope the game will be good enough in the sense that they can have its own niche, be able to compete with Smite. And when you talk about League of Legends or Dota 2, people are like, oh, I don't think Predecessor will ever overtake them. They're just way too big, right? And so one of the biggest things that stood out to me in the interview is you actually mentioned is that you not only plan to capture the console audience with the release of Predecessor, but you also believe there's an opportunity to capture the next big MOBA cycle, kind of similar how Valorant was able to capture the next CSGO cycle, which has become really dominant in the esports scene. So I'm very curious to know a little bit more about that comment you made in that show for Predecessor.
I think there's I think the industry in general goes through changes, and when you look at really big games, they happen at these changes, and it's always easier to pick it out in hindsight. I'm not gonna pretend that I can see future changes coming, but League of Legends, massive game that blew up because of free to play, their business model was quite unique at the time. You still need to have a great game to execute on it, and then there's been a few titles that have blown up because of crossplay. You look at Fortnite, and then when it launched on PlayStation and was crossplay, and kind of they turned it on without Sony's permission and whatnot, and the game just blew up. I think there's a similar opportunity with that in the MOBA space, where a lot of people are getting fatigued of the League of Legends, the Dotas of the world. I think Smite is a very And it's a good product, but I think it's still very old. And I think what we bring to the table aligns with where the industry is today. When you think about immersive gameplay, cross-platform, fairly easy to pick up. I still think we've got some ways to go there. But the idea is that we want to be like a category leader, similar to how there's other games in those categories doing a similar thing, right? Like Fortnite isn't the first big battle royale. There's been other big battle royales, but they did specific things that allowed them to grow in their category. I think there's, we can do the same thing.
Now, Pinzo, you got any casual questions before we get into Pred questions? Anything you want to know about your ace?
I only have extremely deep like gameplay and personal questions.
I don't know about personal ones.
Right.
Extremely personal. Like I probably shouldn't ask them, but I will anyway. You don't have to answer, but we'll get there. It's all coming. It's cooking.
I was about to say, that's not awkward at all. Like, okay.
It's simmering.
Yeah, it's deeply personal.
Aye. All right. Bearded, you want to go ahead and kick off the other portion?
Yeah, we can jump right into it. All right. In the most recent, sorry, we just had a patch. In one of the recent patch notes, it was said that we're pushing everything back because of the UI, and the UI being essential for console, also known as being required. What makes it be required? Like, what about it with Sony or Microsoft that it makes a new UI required in this situation?
Yeah, there's a few things, and it can get quite detailed, but at a high level, it's like, one is how easy it is for people to use on those platforms is obviously not only beneficial for Sony, but like it's key to our product, right? If people can't navigate and use the menus or play the game, then it's it's going to be a pretty disastrous experience. The other thing is like TVs are very different to monitors, so you have to make sure the UI is designed to fit a TV. There's like these safe zone requirements. There's minimum font sizes. There's a lot of like these tedious requirements that come with launching on PlayStation and Xbox, and we didn't really like foresee a lot of those until we got like really experienced people in it. Like, hey, we need to like clean a lot of this stuff up, and it's going to take some time. And so ultimately we decided that, hey, if we clean it up now, we can move really quickly in the future. Also, with moving to Unreal Engine 5, there was a lot of new technology that they built, and it was basically like, hey, do we stick with this old technology, knowing that one day it's going to require us to move to this new one, and at that point we might have 200 screens to move to. And so we just decided, hey, it's kind of required for console that we fix a lot of these issues. We might as well just start it from scratch and make sure that it's future-proof, so that going forward we don't ever run into this issue where, hey, we need to pause something for a month, because I think once you're free to play live, I don't think you can do that. So we decided to just bite the bullet early on.
Okay. All right. Now, speaking of console, there's a console port team. Is that a separate team working with you guys? Is it are you guys all one team working together? Like, what are the process for that, for you guys working that out?
Yeah, it's so it is a separate team that we work with, and it's a good friend of mine. They did 7 cross-platform titles, or they launched on 7 platforms for Activision, the ex-Activision guys. I think, is it Guitar Hero that Activision did? I can't remember the band, and then there's Guitar Hero or something. Anyways, they launched that.
Rock Band and Guitar Hero?
Yeah, something. Whichever the Activision one was, they did that. They were the team that did that on 7 platforms. So we brought them in to help. We also have some people working on console internally anyways, but we brought in them and we were like, hey, just help us get through the console compliance and all this stuff. And so we work with them. There's about 22 or 23 of them working on it.
Okay, so you guys, so they are working separate. All right, so that works out. That kind of finished up with our next question. Going back to the UI, it's our team. I say our. I'm just a content creator. Is it Omeda that's working on it, or is it a third party that's working on the UI?
So the UI is all us. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like the way it works with the other studio is like they're basically integrated into our team. So it's kind of all of us working on it. But our focus is mostly gameplay, the UI and all like the game design features. And then their focus is making sure that all the things we put in are compliant. So they'll like whatever the list from Xbox and PlayStation is, they're making sure we're compliant, like making sure the game doesn't crash and all these other things. But for the most part, all the game players are us, and they're just really helping us optimize for PlayStation and Xbox. And I just saw a question in the chat. It's like, are the 50 members including the other studio? No, like I think we're at I think in total there's about 100 people working on the game.
Okay.
Damn.
Nice.
Okay. I didn't see that coming. All right.
I
see.
I didn't either. All right. So content creator, being a creator yourself, I'm sure you value the strength of a good creator. What are some of the examples that you plan to use the Pred partners for in the future?
That's a good question. I think one of the things that is really important and we are like super blessed to have is that we have this really core community, and a lot of you guys are like the product champions, right? Like in the tech world, we call them product champions. And these are people that just like love your product, they talk about it, they create content. And we're always looking at ways that we can empower you guys, whether it's like bringing you on streams or giving you guys access to things early. We're always looking at ways we can improve that. But it's been fairly difficult to do those things this early because we're like balancing multiple platforms, and we're like all the platforms are like different stages. And so like we get the PC version out, but we're still like working on the PlayStation version. And I don't know if we've said this, but we're working on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and both Xboxes. So 4 platforms plus PC. And it's not like just because it works on PlayStation 5 means it's going to work on PlayStation 4. So we're juggling like 4 platforms plus PC. And it makes it a little hard for us to focus on the community things, but it's super important to me. I mean, you guys know how I feel about community anyways. So we've hired some more community people. We are hiring even more people for marketing and community. And so it's something that we definitely want to invest in like even more. I don't think we've done a great job. I think the team have definitely tried their best with what they have, but it's like kind of working with one hand tied behind your back. It's something that we definitely want to do better of, super conscious of it as well. And so I think you guys are aware, like we hired Jeremy, who's like head of marketing now. Something he really cares about his community. And so, I think you guys will see some changes. Probably not, hiring people takes time. Really good people have like 3-month notice periods. So it's going to take a while before they join, but just know that it's something that we really care about. And so it'll definitely get better with time for sure. And that's the plan.
I'm with Stranger in the chat. Jeremy blog post when? But so I kind of want to touch on what you said. That it's awesome, the fact that, 4 different categories of consoles are being worked on top of PC. But so HVRU in the chat, along with others, have been asking, is like, so as far as content pipeline goes, is it going to speed up once game is full release? Or given the fact that there's so many different areas, are we going to see a similar pace? Or do you project that, as the team expands, it'll get better? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I think the thing is, like, you are supporting multiple platforms, but it's like the way we're setting things up now is just means that it's kind of do it once and you can push it out to all those platforms, right? Like that's why it's taking a little longer. It's not like we have to build it for each platform separately. It's like we do it once, we performance test it, we optimize, and it's done. Whereas now it's like everything's like different stages, which means that it all comes in at different times. Once everything is like parity together, it's much, I don't say easy, it's still like a lot of work, but it's easier to get all those things out at the same time. And so I think, the goal is definitely to move much faster. And a lot of the features that you guys are requesting also don't really progression system is kind of out of the game anyways. So you're not really trying to optimize it for a platform. It's a lot of UI things. And so those things are fairly easy to ship once we have the UI. It's just kind of pointless for us to ship it on PC and then wait for the PlayStation version to catch up and then the Xbox version. It's like, we'd rather just do it once and for all. And that way we can deliver you guys like a better experience as well.
Got you. So you're quite literally just making sure that you build a proper solid pipeline. So then from there, you can send out everything at a smooth rate, as opposed to working on in multiple stages, slowing shit down, and etc.
Yeah. I mean, like we wanna move even faster than we are on a lot of fronts, but you have to lay the foundations, right? If you move too fast, what happens is like you do it for like 6 months and they're like, well, now we hit a bottleneck, so we can't do anything for 6 months, and it's like that's pointless.
Okay. Speaking of moving and moving too fast and doing stuff, what are you and your team doing to not lose the passion? Because you guys are constantly working on this. It pretty much happened with Fall, right? They were working on their game, they were doing it, and then all of a sudden they had such a small team and they were working on it so much that they literally just lost the passion of wanting to make the game, so they shut it down. What are you guys doing to not have that happen?
I don't think we're actively doing anything to not have it, but I just feel like, we are in a very different position where, we hired Jeremy, who grew like Overwatch and Diablo, like massive titles, and then PUBG Mobile, and he comes in, he's like, this is phenomenal, this is insane, and then everyone else is inspired by that because like this guy grew 3 titles that are, all of them are done over $1 billion, and so I think as you bring in other people, you bring in fresh faces, you kind of, their passion is infectious and everyone's re-energized. I think I've been working on this for like 5 years, and like the first 2 years were like in between my job, and I'm still as passionate as I was back then. And I think every day that we see the company grow, we see videos from people like yourselves, Joey's videos, Pinzo's videos, we watch the Predcast internally as well, like seeing your guys' comments, your feedback, whether it's good or bad. I think most of you know that I'm open to both kinds of feedback anyways, but that kind of motivates us as well. Like that's like, wow, people are actually talking about something we built, people care enough to voice their opinion. That also kind of like, yeah, we want to do better for you guys as well. And so that kind of fuels us as well.
Good to hear.
I actually I would love to hear the thought process behind what Mooseland in the chat is saying. So there are some people that are like, why not just focus on the future? Why involve older consoles if they're kind of like a dying?
Yeah, it's mostly because the market is just massive still. Like I think PlayStation 4, last I checked, sold over 100 million units. I think PlayStation 5 is like 30 million or 33 million or something. It's a massive opportunity. And so that's really why we're kind of focusing. I wouldn't say we're focusing on it. It's just like, we think we can do it in a way that meets our budget, and we also think we could sustain it for a period of time. And so we thought, why not?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, just because I know a lot of people, my son being one of them, that can't afford a PS5. And he sees me play the game, so he wants to play it. But I also know people that are Paragon players that are waiting for it. They can't afford a PS5, and for the longest time they couldn't even get one because the market was the way it was. So they're still waiting for it. So I think there's still quite a bit of a market out there for you guys to be able to tap into the older consoles. So I agree with it. I think it's a great move.
Now, Bearded, I totally want to read the next question, by the way, so I'm gonna just go right in for it. All right, so this is something that I've had a personal, like I've been wondering, and you've probably heard me complain about this for a million times. I'm very curious about skin prices, and I'll elaborate here. I know that in recent events with, certain comments like, vote with your wallet, still kind of testing out the grounds and etc. have come out. Are there any plans to improve on that, like maybe before full release? Let me ask that specifically, and then I'll have a follow-up in a second.
Any plans to improve on that before full release? I think, to be honest, I'm not sure, and I know people are going to hate this answer, but to be honest, we're just like looking at the data, right? Like we're learning from players that joined right at the start. We're learning from players that are coming in now, and we just need time to analyze the data, right? And so we understand that we've obviously seen the feedback from players, and we're discussing how we want to kind of proceed with skin monetization. I do want to add, like, if you watch the early access video, like skins in the store was very, like, it wasn't even something we'd considered going into early access, and we were like, yeah, we're not even going to launch a store in early access. But we had a lot of feedback from players that, hey, they want something to spend their platinum on. And so we put the store in. And so with the new UI, it'll be a brand new, it'll be very different. And one of the things that we're super conscious of is that pricing aside, the pricing is very like random to people, and it's not like tiered or structured. And so like with the new UI, it'd be much more structured. So you guys will be able to see like, hey, this is the price for this tier, this is the price for that tier. Whereas now it kind of fluctuates in between the tiers. And so that's just us like learning, figuring out like we'd received feedback that you should try different, you shouldn't like set the tiers, or you should set the tiers from different people, community, videos, whatever. And so now we've kind of come to a decision that we definitely want to provide much more clarity on like what the tiers are, and also making sure that that pricing is pretty clear. Like, hey, I see this skin, I know it's going to cost this much. And so I can't comment on the specific pricing because we're still figuring that out, but you should know that it's something we're definitely thinking about. And the second thing that we are definitely going to be actioning is like, it's just going to become more clear. And now that we have people like Jeremy, who've obviously worked closely on pricing for other games, we just have much more insight. And so we haven't made a decision. You know, he only started a couple of weeks ago and we're still learning, but you know, it's definitely something we're thinking about. And I think the important thing for us, and one of the reasons why we decided to go with Thomas, who led the 20 million round, was that, you know, at Riot, they want players to be able to trust them with their money, right? So like when you give us your money, we want you to be able to trust, you know, you need to be able to trust us that we're going to use that money to invest into a better product. And so that's this kind of same thing we want to have with you guys. Like we're going to reinvest to make the game better. And so we want people to feel like they're getting value for their money, and that it's also going to a good place.
Appreciate it. Now, I fully understand if you don't want to give the details out yet. As far as the current currency system goes and everything, are you guys pretty dead set on like certain tier skins can only be acquired by platinum? Are you guys maybe considering in-game free currency to acquire? Are you gonna switch it up? Because we saw previous heads in Paragon, for example, different people come in, they have different marketing ideas, different currency systems get in place, for example, loot boxes, etc. Are you guys planning on kind of sticking to your guns, or are you open to variety there down the road?
Yeah, I think like never say never, right? It's like a free-to-play product, so you know, what it looks like today is probably going to look very different in 5-10 years. So never say never. I think one is, like I mentioned, you know, we put the store in because people wanted to be able to spend. So like, not like there's not even a progression system. So what would you do with currency anyways, right? So never say never. It's something we're always thinking about, but I don't really have a good answer in either direction yet.
Spicy. Okay with that. All right, you want to go ahead and go into the next one there, Beard?
I want to ask one more skin question here.
Go for it.
My biggest gripe I have with the meta when it comes to skins is you guys not showing what you're able to do. How do I ask the question? It's almost like I want to hope that you guys are sandbagging and you guys are just holding skins back and you're going to wait for full release and you're just going to explode them out here and we're all just going to be, all jaws going to be dropped and Pinzo's wallet's going to be empty. All right. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen, right?
Well, that's correct. So you can just end it there.
You can just end it there. All right. Because, I mean, all right. So then if that is how it is, I just suggest to not fully sandbag, show us one of your cards in your hand, just to kind of just to show us people that we've been sitting here, we've constantly going, we want to just feel that comfort, you know, I guess is what it makes sense. Because you said it's a free to play system, right? This is what it's eventually going to be. Right now it's a paid early access, but eventually you're going free to play, and you guys got to be able to make money somehow. And if you're not able to put out the content of skins, then where are you making the money from? That's going to be the tough part. And I want to know that I'm playing and grinding this game, that it's like you said, 5 to 10 years, it's going to look different. But I want to be like, you know what? I know they got it. I know they can do it, and just have that comfort, you know?
Yeah, I think on the skin side, right, I would say just wait for Lizard, right? Like, I think you guys are going to be pretty impressed with Lizard, and that'll, like, he's a hero, but it's the same thing as making a skin. So I think you'll be really impressed with Lizard. And that's really like us setting the bar. And on the skin pipeline, like we already have skins internally that we just haven't shipped yet. I think like obviously we want to build up a big enough pipeline for free to play. And you know, today our focus is not really making money, as like crazy as that sound. Like our focus is, and I think I said it in the early access video, right? It's like our focus is core gameplay. Like we don't really care about anything else, because if you don't have a solid game, nothing else matters anyways. I think the thing that we learned though, which is great, is that the feedback for the core gameplay has been really positive and probably better than we expected, which maybe meant that we were lacking in things that we could have spent time on. But I think that's a way better position to be in than the reverse, where you're trying to figure out what your core gameplay should be. And you know, now we've definitely recognized it. We've ramped up the team in those areas. We've hired like 3 character artists from AAA studios. One of them did skins in Paragon already, so we're not really worried. He did the Howitzer hard case one. So we're not too worried about the skin production pipeline. We're working with an outsourced company that does AAA skins for another MOBA. And so they're super familiar with the space. So we're not too worried about it. And also I've seen some really cool stuff this week that makes me even more excited. But I think just wait till Lizard. You'll see Lizard. He'll also have a skin with it as well, like his own skin on top of the base model. And I think that'll be a good indication of like whether you guys think we can hit the bar. I think it looks pretty awesome myself, but I'll let you guys be the judge of it. And then maybe I'll come back and you can let me know.
There we go. All right. All of that was great information. The 3, you said you got 3 people working on 3D skins. I was sitting here a few podcasts ago wondering if you guys even had a 3D artist, because we really haven't seen much out of you guys in that situation. So I'm like, is it even a thing? So that it's all great information. I'm again, I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. I love the fact that you're on here to give us this information, because this is great.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Sure. Now
it's about Lizard.
Yeah, I was about to say, we brought up lizards. Come on, we gotta say something. Don't you fucking tell me he's a reptile.
Bring him up.
You gotta say something.
Leave it at he's got a cool skin, okay?
I don't even want to say anything, because I'm not even sure like what the final kit was. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna not leak Lizard, but I think, yeah, firstly he's really, really cool, and I heard some of the voice acting, and I think you guys are gonna be super surprised by the voice acting. I will have a video for that, so like you guys can see the process of the voice acting. And something we want to do kind of going forward is involving you guys in the creation of stuff. So not just heroes, but skins as well. So this will be like our first kind of
behind the scenes,
like tester in this. We got a professional company to work with us and kind of capture the voice acting, just to hype the hero up a little bit more, but also involve you guys into the process.
All right. I mean, I kind of have an idea what it is, because the leaked photo is a shield, but melee or ranged hero? Can we get that information?
Yeah, okay, it's a melee hero.
Melee hero? All right.
That's all you're getting.
That's all you're getting. All right, appreciate it.
Can I ask you, wait, Bearded asked like a yes or no question. Wait, can we ask yes or no questions? Like 20 questions?
That was the only one I was giving.
Ace 6 months ago would be disappointed.
Ace 6 months ago.
Revenant release would be disappointed in the lack of leaks. Okay,
I've gone corporate.
That's what that NDA will do to you, Brett. Yo, so actually, any liberty to discuss or describe a little bit that additional skin coming with him? Right? Like, if we can't know about the hero, at least kind of tease me. He's got different clothes. Like, what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but I guess.
Can you describe it with a picture?
No, no, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to describe it like in a way that does it justice. Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
I'll give you a teaser about some other skins though. Like we have an entire skin line for some heroes. Like entire skin lines. They're like custom models. They'll have custom VFX. They're like tier 3 upwards.
Okay, but just to specify this, we're not talking about anything that might be coming recent. We're more than likely talking about ready for the future, or are we talking about upcoming seasons?
Lizard skins after Lizard, we're getting skins.
This stuff is probably more like free to play.
Okay. Got you, like on full free to play, full release area, right around there. Okay. Interesting. So you already got, I guess you could say, hero skin. What do they call packages? Right? I guess you could call it like a skin pack.
I mean, I guess we still don't know how we're gonna like sell them. I think maybe individually or as a bundle, but yeah, like that's definitely like a really cool themed skin line, and there's another skin that's really cool that I think people will definitely love.
I can't with him, bro. This man literally just throws that little sprinkle at the end and says nothing else. What the fuck? He's like, and there's another thing you'll like. Not telling you shit next.
remember, he got investors to invest, right? He knows what he's doing.
The lizard one, I think you guys are gonna love. Like when I saw lizard, I was like, this is just like so sick. And then when I saw the skin, I think you guys are gonna be like really blown away. And you know, Hero was basically us just learning a lot, and lizard is us like flexing.
You know what? Actually, I see F6 putting it in the chat, and I got a couple questions that I'd love to pick from there. What are your thoughts on announcer packs? Ace announcer pack, get Smokey and they're cursing at me in French or some shit like that. Like, what are we thinking about announcer packs?
Yeah, it's something we thought about actually as a season reward for this season, but when we looked at it, it was like really hard. Like our announcers is not like the technology isn't set up in a way that's what I mean. Like some stuff is just taking longer because you need to set it up properly. So it was something we couldn't do, but it's something that we really want to do. Like we think that's a really great way to add personality to the game, and I'm a big advocate of like putting community people in the game. It's hard to make skins for like the fidelity of our game, so it's like, how would we make like a Windows skin? Like how would we accommodate for all these content creators, because these skins take a lot of time. But I think an announcer pack is something that we can do where it adds a lot of value and creates a lot of flavor. So definitely something we want to do. It's on our radar. We haven't started working on it, but it's something we definitely looked into for this season, and it just wasn't feasible with like current technology that we have.
Just put a beard on Grux, and you already got a beard. We got a bearded Wolverine skin. We'll be good with that.
Get me out. Yeah. But no, it's cool that you're considering, you know, incorporating more community icons and such. Speaking of icons, that'd probably be another easy way to throw in there. Just kind of have the icon for the creator you support and such.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely something we looked into also for the community tournaments. That's something we're currently looking into as well. It's just, yeah, there's like, we want to do all these things. There's just so many moving parts, and like with the console stuff, and it's a little tricky, but I think as soon as we get to a good place where the foundations are laid, the console versions are out, this is stuff that like is definitely front of mind for the community team.
Now, I know the community's still worried about matchmaking, and I just want to throw it out there. We did have a very good Predcast episode going over matchmaking import, so check that out, guys. But could we provide a little bit of insight to the community as far as what could they be expecting maybe in the next 3 months, 6 months, the next year as far as matchmaking goes? Are we thinking about a short-term fix, or is it more like, hey, the official fix that you guys, since you're still working on it, is going to take till free to play? What can we expect out of that area?
Yeah, I don't think it's that far out. I actually don't know where it currently is at. If I'm just being honest, like I haven't caught up with the team, but there's really smart people working on it. Like the person that worked on League of Legends matchmaking is working on this, and so there's like really talented people trying to solve this problem. One is the way it works is like we're limited by a backend provider, so we are now building a custom matchmaking system, which takes a little bit of time. We've hired engineers for that, and so we're building something that sits in between so that we can give you guys a better experience. That takes time. Also, we can't just test it live because kind of have to make sure people can actually get into games. And the other thing is just you need player liquidity. Like you need, I think for like the Halo matchmaker, they said it was like you need like 400 people in each bucket. And that means people queuing at that time, right? So if you have like 10 different brackets, you need like 4,000 people queuing at any given time to have a balanced game. And so it's just a player liquidity thing that once we get the matchmaker up and running, which I don't think we're talking months. And so I think it's much sooner than that. And then once we kind of start growing, like, I mean, to date we spent $0 on marketing. And so once we actually turn on marketing, I think those two things will eventually solve the problem. But I do want to add, right, like if you're a bad player, like matchmaking is not going to help you. So like we can't solve that one. But
talking to you, Windu.
Damn.
Oh, I'll just set my water.
No, and that's all great information. And I would say with the last Q&A, the perception, at least the perception that I felt, right, and I feel like I've seen some comments from the community, is that like you guys are literally just working on UI, right? We're sitting here and saying these things, and it's like we got the partner chat that Discord that we're in, and Jay Shreds came in and we started explaining some things to us, stuff that I can't really say anything about, but at least gave us the insight that like he's actively working on this. Him and his team are actively working on fixing this matchmaking. You said you don't think it's months away. It's closer. You think it's possibly closer than that. But it's nice to know that it's like, hey, no, this is actually being done. It's not like, hey, we're getting UI first, and then everything else we'll start bringing in as the next top priority. It's just good to hear that, and it was because that's to me is the hardest part about that. I'm not like Windu. It's not. I'm better than that, so matchmaking will help me.
Yeah, I will say like the UI and the matchmaking have like nothing to do with each other. So like if the matchmaking was ready, it's like you guys wouldn't even notice the change in terms of the front end. You'd hopefully notice better quality games, but you wouldn't see any change. So it's like happening separately, and it's a completely different team that works on it. Like I said, there's about 100 people working on the game, and so if we had 100 people working on UI, I'd definitely be worried.
I would be worried too, but I wasn't.
Now,
good.
Now, let me ask you this. So, as far as I'm actually super hyped to hear the whole custom matchmaking system in the meantime, like you guys are trying to provide like a quick fix. I had no clue about that. That shit is dope. Now, as far as how do we say? So we mentioned that the player liquidity, the player base itself, is a huge factor. Like at this point, I'm pretty sure it's a well-known thing, right? Is there any plans to kind of help flood people in before free-to-play, before marketing starts kicking in? Maybe like price reductions, like any plans to help alleviate that situation if it's such a big cog?
I'll add on top of that. Somebody did ask in chat if there was something that possibly like another free-to-play weekend, a little more a free marketing scheme in a sense. Scheme sounds bad, but yeah.
Yeah, it's something we thought about a lot. There's a few problems with like a free weekend. Doing discounts is fine, but you kind of need to amplify that as well. And so what we're kind of thinking, and this is like, I don't want you guys to like quote me on this and then like, hey, you didn't hit these deadlines or whatever, but I'll just tell you kind of how I'm thinking about it at the moment is the console version is pretty close. And so we're like, hey, let's use the console version as like a marketing beat. Let's use that as a way to test multiple things, like how to acquire customers effectively for the business. What does retention look like for those players? A ton of things that we want to learn. We want to use the console release to kind of learn a lot, and at the same time pull in new players and drive that liquidity. The issue is we can't do that before that because one, we know there's issues with the matchmaker. I don't think it's terrible, but there's cases that result into poor matchmaking. Maybe liquidity would solve that, but we don't know for sure. The other issue is that if we do a free weekend, it makes it really difficult for players to onboard because there's not a lot of things in the game for them to like, for new players, whereas our audience is very skewed to like Paragon players. And so we're like, let's just wait a little bit. You kind of get a few bullets to releasing a game. So let's like put our best foot forward at each of these times. And we know in the last 7 months, we've been focusing on a lot of things and they haven't shipped yet. So why not just like give ourselves a few more months, ship those things. With the new UI, we'll be shipping hero acquisition, which is like, I can talk a little bit about that if you want. Like Masteries is coming very soon after that. So it's like, why do that now when we can just wait a little bit? And then like all these people will come in and then they'll stay as well. The kind of cool thing is though, our kind of metrics at the moment are like really good. So we want to make sure that when those players come in, they have the same metrics as kind of you guys, because like you guys are like really sticky users.
So let me ask you this. As far as, because you brought up an interesting point along all that also, it's very possible that the console market, as far as how you sell to that market, might be totally different to the PC market. Would you guys ever consider having different stores, like a console store versus a PC store, or would you just go for the one single store and just try to find the balance in between both?
When you say store, you mean like in-game cosmetic store, or?
Let's say prices specifically. For example, a lot of companies might have an Apple iOS price versus an Android price just because of fees that get involved and etc. Like, are we going to see discrepancies there? Like with somebody, let's say somebody has a PlayStation 5, they prefer it. But if you go on Epic and buy the skin, it'll actually be like 10% cheaper because, you know, they don't take as big of a cut. You know what I'm saying? Like little things like that.
Yeah, no. We don't plan on doing that, but I also don't think you're allowed to do that.
Fair.
So I have a quick question since we're talking a little bit about console again. So some people kind of asking, are we still expecting a console release hopefully this year, or are you thinking maybe it's going to be a little bit closer next year? If you can tell us, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're submitting it to Sony in a couple of days. That doesn't mean it's going to release in a couple of days, but it's being submitted to Sony like in a couple of days. Oh wait, it's Friday, so probably early next week it's being submitted. And so then it definitely will be this year. It's like, just because I want to emphasize though, just because it's a couple of days doesn't mean it goes live, right? Like there's still
there's still their process that they're gonna do with it, you know, and
exactly. There's things that we need to do, but it's definitely this year. Like that's just to show you that hey, like the console versions are basically ready. There's things that are gonna come back we need to fix, but I was in the office yesterday and playing on PlayStation 5.
Okay. Speaking of console, and it's off the wall, and I'm just because I've seen it before, and there's people might want to know. Any ideas or thoughts about like a Switch? That's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm personally okay with it. I think that's a little bit too much, too mobile-ish or whatever. But I just wanted to see what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, no plans for the Switch.
Okay.
If you want to play on the Switch, people, they just go play on the Steam Deck. Apparently, some people are able to make it work.
I saw that. I saw people posting that they were playing Pred on the Steam Deck. That's spicy. Pinzo.
Yeah.
I would love to hear this this cook fest that you got grilling, bro. If you want to start kind of going into that, and we'll vibe off of that.
Yeah. Okay. So, the first like few questions I have are kind of just like general kind of Omeda centric questions. Okay. So the first question I have is like in it we're what are we 7 months out of or into EA? Like what has been the hardest part for like either Omeda as a whole or you, Robbie, like either or both? I'm just curious, like as a dev, like what's the hardest part?
I think it's like I think the hardest part for us has been balancing the console versions and then also a live service. I guess like that's a very like new thing for a lot of us. Like, you know, we spent 2-3 years just building at our own pace, and now you kind of have to hit a deadline every single month. Like every 2 weeks we push a patch, and it might seem like a lot of these are small changes, but a patch has to go through an entire QA team, has to go through this whole process that takes like a day or so, if not more. Then you have to hotfix. That's another day for QA, and so that's been pretty challenging, but we're definitely getting much better at it. And then just like I said, managing the kind of PlayStation versions and making sure those are moving along while operating a live service game, while also building hero acquisition, progression, and all these other things. And then also hiring all these people, finding them. So finding the time to hire these people, raising venture capital at the same time while running a live service game. Like it's a lot, but it's super fun. Wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, but it's definitely like some of the hardest things I've ever done.
Understandable.
Speaking of hiring, sorry, Pence, I want to cut in here real quick.
Lay it on me. Yeah,
hiring. When it comes to hiring people to work, right? I mean, or to work on this, like a lot of it, one, you're doing a lot of this remote work, right? You're not like you guys don't have a core central office that everybody's driving into work and we're all going to start working on the same, LAN at that time. How is it hiring one gamers, but then also trying to get somebody that fits your culture, that fits the team, will understand what the team needs are, and that's going to vibe well with you guys as a team? What is that process through for you?
It's it's interesting because I feel like we've been pretty fortunate to hire people that have just been like really passionate. Whether it's like our character artist who worked on the Howitzer skin, he was really keen to work on the project and he just like loves the game. He's kind of like one of us, and so super easy hire. And then you get people like Jeremy who's got like years and years, like 20 plus years in the industry, and you're like, oh, will this guy kind of fit in with us because we're very indie. We're not like the Blizzards of the world. We don't have like $1 billion. Like, but then I think the advantage is that everyone at the studio is just super passionate about what we're building, and so with that passion, we kind of all just really bonded over, just over everything really, and it made it super easy. In terms of the hiring process, we do like 3 interviews usually, and the first interview is more like a technical interview. The second one is a little, depending on department, can be even more technical, usually a test or something. And then the third one is checking for like a culture fit. And so that's usually how we like to kind of filter out candidates. And over time, we've just gotten really good at it. And I think, fortunately, we've been really lucky because at the start, I don't think I was great at hiring people. But like everyone we hired at the start has turned out to be like absolute rock stars. So I think it's like someone's looking out for us. And we definitely gotten better at it. But yeah, I think we've managed to build a really great group of people. And then also something that if you manage to have great investors, they will connect you with people and they'll like talk about your game. And then those people are like, oh, I really want to like work on this game. And the last thing I'll say on it is our game, like we're not a AAA studio, but it's like AAA-ish, right? In terms of the kind of quality of the game. And when you think about a lot of people that work at AAA studios, one of the biggest frustrations is, they work at a big studio, their project will get canceled after 5-6 years. Here, you get to work on a game. Everything you do usually goes out in like the next few patches. People like yourself are making videos on it, and people love other people talking about their work, whether it's good or bad. People love it. And so I think people really appreciate the community we have. And that's definitely been kind of a selling factor for us to recruit really great talent from some of these really big studios.
Bro, and you're wild snatching up people too. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like I'll randomly be on Twitter and out of nowhere, like this random dev from this company is like, damn, bro, they fucked me over. Now I don't got a job and I was supposed to move there this week. In the comments is like, you trying to find a place to work? Like legit, like heartless, bro. They're like on the spot, like not even 4 minutes live. He was already there typing. I was like, bro, man's a savage. GG. Kudos. All right, you got another one, Pinzo?
I do. I've got as many as we've got time for. The next question again, it kind of just a general one. Again, we're 7 minutes into EA. Are you guys like, based on the last 7 months and what, obviously we don't know everything, but what you know behind the scenes, how confident are you in like the next 7 months?
In what sense? Like in us like reaching our goals, like
just yeah, like in the game. Obviously, I'm assuming you were fairly confident in it, like releasing it into EA, right? After now 7 months of what a live service game, like what servicing that looks like, all that kind of stuff. What now that you know all of that, how do you feel going into into Q1 of 2024?
Yeah, I feel pretty confident. I feel excited. I feel like, the cool thing is that people are still playing our game 7 months in. And I think if we're all just being honest, there's like, we basically just shipped 7 characters. Like that's it really. And if people are still playing, I think we've done a pretty good job. And I don't even think we've like shown some of the best stuff, like some really cool characters. I know a lot of the characters are Paragon ones, but I think there's a lot of cool stuff that's coming. I mean, I just played today, so there's a lot of cool characters coming. I think they dramatically changed the game. And so I think that's really exciting. And I think also just the 7 months of like operating a live service game, we're only going to get better. We're only going to be able to grow more, get better people on board. And so I think the next 7 months are going to definitely be much better. I think in 7 months, well, that would take us to January. We'll be out on PlayStation for sure, Xbox maybe towards the end of this year. And so I think we'll be in a really good spot.
Interesting. Okay. So I was about to say, we just found out there, like as far as console, there's stages, I guess, depending on agreements and etc. It's not like all console.
Yeah, it'd definitely be PlayStation first.
Obviously, best one first. Save the worst for last. Got it.
Bro, he's about to start some shit in the comments because of that bullshit, bro.
All right. Okay, this is get a little spicier just because of where we're at. And speaking of the 7 minutes that we've been, in EA, so
I didn't say that. I don't know.
You did say 7 minutes, bro. You did say 7 minutes, Pinzo.
Everybody,
I think you guys are lying.
Go watch the VOD on Windows YouTube channel when it gets posted.
Oh, bro.
But anyways,
Remember, it didn't happen. Okay, proof. Where's the receipts?
So, some people feel that with previous heroes, like with the original Paragon heroes, the output of it is kind of on the slower pace. All right. What are your thoughts on that with where you're at? So here's your chance to stick up for the team or whatever and say, hey, this is why we're doing this, but whatever. What are your thoughts on the pace of, I understand it's going to take more time for original heroes, like your Omeda heroes, but like with the OG Paragon heroes, why a slow pace for that?
I mean, I don't think a month is slow, so okay. maybe we just have different opinions on that, and that's completely fine. I also maybe think people underestimate the actual work required to kind of make these characters. Like, on the hero that's coming out next month, for his skin, we had to spend a week fixing a lot of stuff, and so it's like people just think we have the assets, we drag and drop them. The other thing is, when we moved to Unreal Engine 5, a lot of these assets weren't built for Unreal Engine 5, right? So there's a lot of things, like we had to fix a lot of things. It's not like, if we'd stayed on Unreal Engine 4, probably it'd been much quicker, but then we're not future-proofing the game and we're just thinking short term, and I think that would be a mistake. And so when we moved to Unreal Engine 5, we had to fix a lot of things. Like, they changed how cloth physics works. Every Paragon character has a ton of cloth for some reason. And so we had to fix all that. And that's basically someone's full-time job to fix all that. And that stuff takes time. There's missing animations, there's stuff that's broken, it's not perfect. And so we have to go in and fix all those things. I would say also something we care about, is the feel of the game. And I think, I don't think it's close to Paragon. Like, I still think Paragon feels phenomenal. But I think we're pretty close. Like, the original Paragon was just, like, I don't know. I don't think I think it felt like you were like this, like, it was just this insane experience where you were the like hero of a single player story. That's how good it felt, like playing those characters. Like that's kind of the bar we want to reach, but that's going to take time, right? These are people that spent 30 years in the industry. So that's the goal. But to make it anywhere near close to that takes time, right? Like the feel of a character is what takes the most time. It's not like producing a lot of the assets because we have them. It's mostly fixing the assets and then getting the feel right, making sure things feel good takes a lot of time. And so that's why it takes about a month.
Okay.
Speaking of,
I appreciate that.
Definitely. And speaking of that one a month, so after we run out of Paragon heroes, is it going to slow down?
The plan is to not slow down, though.
I see. Okay. How many original heroes are in the pipeline right now? How many y'all got back there?
There's quite a lot.
Just start naming them so that you don't forget about any. Just like
we'll count them for you.
I think at one point we were just like, let's just name them colors, because then I'll probably end up leaking. Like if I say yellow, no one's gonna care. So I think the team trying to play it safe.
So on that kind of topic of like heroes, so for just any OG heroes yet to come back, or for any original heroes, are you guys planning to do a lot more unique stuff with kind of like the verticality in the game? Because that's kind of like one of the biggest selling points of Predecessor. It's just having a 3D MOBA, not X and Y, but also Z-axis. So I feel like there's a lot of potential to make more use of that Z-axis. I'm just kind of curious how soon we should expect to see a lot more of that Z-axis coming into play for these like future heroes.
Yes, please. Yeah, good question.
I think I'm just trying to think about like the characters. I think there's one that makes like maybe too much use of the verticality, and I kind of hate it. So it's definitely about finding a balance, but it is something that we're exploring with a lot. Like this hero is pretty bonkers. So I mean, I don't even think that hero is scheduled for this year, so it's probably next year, but it is something that we're always thinking about. I think the howitzer one, although it wasn't like a massive change, it was like us just trying things out, seeing how people react. You also have to be conscious that like if things are moving up too quickly, people can't react. Like it's not just a console thing, it's also on PC. People just can't keep track of things. And so we want to make sure when we put stuff in, it feels good for not only the person playing, but also the person receiving it as well. And so we're still trying to figure out that balance. But as we start to build more of our own original characters and start to kind of modify the existing ones, it's something we're thinking about. Like we definitely want to expand the play space. I think a lot of what we're doing now, and maybe for a little bit more time, is just filling out the kind of foundations. And once you have those foundations, I think then you can start to push in different directions. And so that's where like a lot of the heroes that we're prototyping for next year are like, they're really pushing like really far. Like some of the stuff I haven't even seen in like a video game before. Like it's pretty nuts. And so I don't know if it will work. Maybe that's why I've never seen it in a video game, but it's definitely pushing those boundaries. And so I think if we can kind of figure out that, it'd be exciting.
Yeah. And I'm guessing one of those foundations is kind of like how Blood Moniz mentioned it in the podcast we have with him, is that you guys are thinking about changing the map, and changing the map has a lot of implications on hero balance. And especially if you're changing the map, that means that trying to make a vertical kind of hero is going to be largely impacted that as well. So it's gonna be really kind of challenging finding that balance between trying to change the map, but also like how you're gonna accommodate the new hero, especially the CX on that.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge, but I think if we can get it right, it's definitely going to be super rewarding for the player experience.
Who's the best counter to the lizard?
I don't even know, to be honest. I have no idea.
I'm just trying to trip them up. All right, y'all keep going.
All right. So you were talking about the feel between console and with looking up, right? PC players having that, right? I heard Soul Reaper on another video I was watching and talking about wanting more skill expression. Do you think that there is maybe a chance that you guys have went a little too far towards the making it console accessible, with not having, actives or whatever items, or maybe the hero kits being a little too, lock on, some of that situation? Do you think you guys maybe went a little too far with that?
I don't think so, because like we weren't actively trying to make it easier for console players. Like I mentioned to Joe, we're just trying to fill out the foundation, right? It's like we all want like cool heroes that we can express ourselves, but like we're only like 25 or 26 heroes in, and that's very small for a MOBA. So we're just trying to fill out a lot of the foundation. And then, like I said, we have some heroes. I think a few of the next ones definitely have a lot more skill expression, and so I think people will start to see that come to the forefront more. But it hasn't been like an active decision like, hey, we don't want to have a bunch of skill expression in the game. And to your second point about the active items, like the data just shows no one really uses them. So it's like people think they use them, like it's like single digit percentages.
Okay.
Hashtags supports only.
Well, speaking of supports only, that is one of the questions minimum 10 wanted to ask. When can we expect more items to be added to the game?
I actually don't know. I'd probably tell you if I knew, but I actually don't know.
Okay.
We're planning to add them.
Got you. All right, Pinzo, keep cooking.
I'm cooking. Let's see. What else do I have in here? Okay, so like obviously I'm assuming you can't give us like real details on free-to-play currency. Do you know? Okay, so first of all, is it going to be called gold? You already have platinum. I gotta know, is it just called gold?
No,
okay.
No. I guess the first part is like how you guys will acquire heroes. I can touch on that if it's of interest.
Yeah.
Everything. Let's assume everything's of interest. Continue.
I want to know. I just want to know about free-to-play currency. I want to know how you get it, what you use it for, everything. I just want to know.
Yeah. And so, okay, so for heroes, there is no free-to-play currency. Like, that's not the mechanic we're using. So I'll tell you how it works, and then you can ask me questions based on that. And so the way you acquire heroes in Predecessor, we wanted it to be really like easy for players to acquire heroes, and we also wanted it to drive engagement. So the current idea is, let's just say Lizard is releasing on I'm going to keep numbers easy for me, but let's say Lizard is releasing on like the 7th of July. He's obviously not, but let's say he's releasing on the 7th of July. On the 1st of July, he'll appear in the game. You can click on Lizard and you can unlock his contract. When you unlock his contract, every game you play will earn progress towards unlocking Lizard. So you, a week before, can unlock the hero. I don't know yet whether we'll allow you to even buy it before. So you can clearly see our goal here is to drive engagement. And if you come into the game later and Lizard's out and like, I just want to play this hero right now and buy it, sure, you can do that. Or you are away or whatever. But for the first week, you can just grind the hero completely for free. If you're playing anyway, you're going to get the hero for free. The way it works is that different heroes have different tiers, and they're all designed to be finished within that week period. Some heroes are like, I don't know what it's called, but let's just say they're tiers, right? There's tier 1, tier 3, and 5. And so a tier 1 hero is like, it's fairly easy to unlock. And we've designed, we put heroes that, yeah, like I can't remember what the heroes are, but they're basically designed so that new players can unlock a bunch of heroes, but they're also very easy for players to understand. And then like a tier 5 hero, I don't know, like what we consider a tier 5 hero, but let's just say there's a really complex hero. He's likely to be a tier 5. And so you can engage with the game a week before hero release, which typically for a lot of other games is when you get the lowest amount of people, because people are like, all right, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna wait for the hero release. Now you can like, oh, I really want to grind the hero and then, you know, kind of engage with the game ahead of time. So that's what we're using. And you obviously can't do that with if heroes could be bought with currency.
Is there going to be like a fast track? Like if let's say I take a year off and I come back and there's 12 new heroes, can I drop, $10 on each hero and instantly unlock them?
Yeah, you can instantly unlock them. And also the way the tiers work is that, like, say you come halfway through the week and you were only like, I managed to get 2 tiers and now Lizard's out, I can just buy the next 3 and it's discounted. So you can like figure out what price point you want to play for a hero. Let's just use $10. I don't actually know what the price is, but let's just use $10, easy math. And it's like, okay, I've done 2 tiers. Now it's down to like $6 or whatever. And you're like, cool, I'm cool dropping $6 on a hero. I'll buy it for $6, or I don't want to spend $6 on a hero. I want to spend $2. So you can really pick the price that you pay for a hero, or you can just get it for free.
Do we know if that Oh, I'm sorry, Pinzo.
I was going to ask the same question you're about to ask, Windu.
Okay, do we know if that contract is time-based? Like, is it just for the event of the release? Like, can somebody come in?
You can activate it whenever. So like Pinzo could come back after a year. I mean, hope he never leaves, but let's say he comes back for a year. After a year, he can like activate a contract, and it's like at any time.
Okay, 1 contract at a time? Maybe?
Yeah, 1 contract at a time, yeah. You trying to like every hero once? Like, what?
Hey, bro, I don't know. Maybe you can, if you got 100 MOBA characters, maybe you could do 3 at a time. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think the idea behind the system was like, it is another form of progression, right? It's like, if you don't like, if we didn't have this, it'd just be the mastery system. And I don't know if new players care enough about investing so much in a hero. Like when I played League, I wanted to try all the characters. And if there's a way for me to acquire it, I feel like that's a really interesting mechanic. It's like, cool, today this week I'm going to work for Gideon. Next week I'm going to work for this other hero. But I get to play Gideon while I'm working for the next one.
Go ahead.
I'm on the same topic, Windu. Are you switching topics?
No, I'm on the same one. I was about to bring in Smite into this. I don't know if you were, but I'm not even the guy bringing up Smite. I mean, you're the Smite guy. Anyway, you just mentioned, great point. The same. I got into League of Legends like, I want to play all these heroes. I don't have all these heroes. One of the things that I personally loved about Smite was the fact that you just pay a fee up front, very similar to being an early founder of Paragon. You could you paid $100 back in the Paragon days, and I got every hero release automatically unlocked. Like, is there any hero hero passes somebody? Like, is that in the kind of on the idea?
Yeah, I don't think so, because then it would go against our goal of like, hey, we want this to be like a really cool progression mechanic for new players, and if new players could just bypass that, I think it'd probably just be us thinking more about like short-term gain. We might do like a pack where it's like, hey, you can get like a bunch of starter heroes fairly quickly, but we'll also have free rotation, so I'm not sure if it would be necessary. We really want to drive engagement versus anything else, and we think this is a really cool way to drive engagement.
Okay.
So on the topic of like right, it's kind of like the contracts for new heroes. It's obviously, you know, kind of Valorant inspired. In Valorant, you get like other things along that contract, right? You get like an icon, an icon or a spray or whatever. Is that like, I'm assuming that's not coming out when it comes out, but like, is that something you're considering down the line?
Yeah, it's not something we are considering for this system, but it's part of like the mastery system. And I would say the difference between Valorant, it's fairly similar, but it's nowhere near as grindy as Valorant, right? Like this is designed for you to be able to acquire heroes fairly quickly.
Well, and it makes sense that you would tie in like icons and stuff like that to the mastery system. That makes more sense.
Speaking of mastery system, Mad Cat asked in chat, and Mad Cat was also recently shouted out in one of the last blogs. But if there's a chance of getting like a weapon mastery system, like if you do you get 5,000 kills with the Grux, I mean, you could unlock him having gold clubs, and it would be something you could do with that. More customizable skins in that situation. Any plans for something like that, maybe?
No plans, but actually I was thinking about it today. But no current plans. It's probably something that's like, hey, we've stood up the mastery system, it's really fleshed out, and now how do we add more value? Like, what are the things that can allow you to personalize this hero so that you can show it off? Like our current plan is to ship hero acquisition with the new UI. My goal is to ship the mastery system a month after in the next patch after the UI. And that would be the first iteration of the mastery system. So that stuff should come fairly quickly. And like the loading screen is like tied into the mastery system as well. It's like, obviously you guys can imagine like borders and all these other things will be a part of the mastery system.
All right. I have to ask, what are your thoughts on banners, like the kill banners in game that Paragon had? What are your thoughts on those? Pinzo,
banners, bro. These banners, bro.
They're like okay. I think there were times where they cluttered up the battlefield, but like when you got like that one-on-one kill, it felt pretty cool to see a banner come down. So I'm definitely not against it, and I actually think it's something we might add at some point. But I think maybe a way for players to like turn it off, or just or building some kind of system where it can tell like if there's a lot of things going on, don't display the banners. If it's a 1v1, it's probably fine. So yeah, I think it'd be cool, and I think it would be cool to tie it to the mastery system where like you could unlock the image for your hero in the banner kind of thing.
Yeah, I like, as long as you give people the, you know, Windu can stop crying, he can shut it off. I'm all about it because I love my banners, and I think it's another way. It's a more customizable way. Like I still remember seeing the box Grux banner that Paragon had. You know, that was like one of the cool things you could do. Is like, I remember that being a really cool thing. So I'm all about it.
I will say I rather a banner pop up on my screen now that I'm dead as opposed to a banner on the battlefield. Like very Call of Duty, like where your title, your call sign, and all that shit pops up. Yeah, or like Apex. Like literally imagine you get killed by a Narbash and now on my screen while I'm dead is a laughing Narbash at me. That's gonna tilt me, but I think it's a lot better than seeing that like random flags on the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean that's I think they're called calling cards, right, in Call of Duty. So that's something like the new UI supports. I don't know if we're going to ship it, but we definitely factored it in. So,
and then sorry, one more question about hero masteries, just because I saw it in chat. Do you have a way to retroactively give us XP on heroes that we play? Do you know?
I don't know. Sorry.
Okay.
Done cook?
Am I done cooking?
Yes, I'll do. You got a neighbor.
One question that
Joey's going to stir the pot.
Joey's cooking.
Okay. Well, I was actually surprised we haven't actually asked this question. We've talking about skins a lot and whatnot, but Pred merch when? That's something I want to throw money at. I really want to get some of the Pred swagger in real life.
So
Is that
let me ask you guys this. So I was listening to one of your, I think last week podcast where you guys were like, there's nothing to grind for at the end of the season. So I was like, oh cool, I've got like a bunch of merch. How about I give it to like the top 10 people that get the furthest?
Bro,
That would be something amazing.
bro.
Like level wise?
Level wise
Whoever gets
in
the
game.
furthest, I'll do it. I'll commit to it now. I'll ship the top 10 people Predecessor merch.
There
Bro.
you go.
Tell us what the top 10 levels are at. I need to know if I'm close. Like,
I have no,
I need to know
I have no
if
idea.
I need to grind.
I have no idea. But
That-
yeah,
that
I
is
guess
awesome.
we'll have a blog post out. I guess like I'll tell
Yeah.
the community team in the morning, and hopefully they don't hate me. But yeah, I'll ship like the top people like some merch, like a hoodie or the tops that we have.
Can I like hit you up personally and like get one of those anyway?
He said,
or-
how far is $20 gonna get me? You know?
I got this freaking Overwatch banner that I get asked about on a daily basis, and I really, really need that to be a Pred banner. Okay, that's really what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we can figure something out. I'll speak to the
I could
community.
make room. I could find somewhere to put Pred somewhere.
Yeah.
Just tear down that stupid like college football thing, and you'll be done.
Hey. If you like to be a guest on the show, don't disrespect my.
I gotta defend it just because Darth Vader's in that bitch. I'm gonna be real with you.
I'm a
But
different MSU fan. Okay.
I'm not an MSU fan at all.
Oh, that's not what that. I thought that was Michigan. MSU is that not MSU?
It is Michigan, not Michigan State.
Is that not the same thing?
got him. Oh my god. Okay.
It's like
How many
saying
universities
Montana.
are there in
That's like
Michigan,
saying
bro? I have
Montana. Montana
there's two
State.
universities in Montana. There's U of M and there's MSU. I don't know.
And I'm U of M.
All right. So let me ask you on the topic of merch, 'cause in football, on the topic of merch, is like, will people be able to buy merch straight out? Let's say long form. Forget about like anything short. Cool contest. Awesome idea, by the way. But let's say long form. If somebody wants to, if they want a Pred hat, they want a Pred shirt, Pred hoodie to rock around, help promote the game that way.
Mouse pad.
Mouse pad.
Yeah. No plans at the moment. Definitely like super focused on the game. But I mean, if enough people want it, then like, you know, we're kind of here to serve you. So if enough people want it, we could probably put something together.
So what I heard is if it's constantly being summoned on the Discord and it doesn't stop, we'll get some merch, maybe?
I mean, that's how you guys got the console version.
I mean, okay.
So every Twitter post from now on is going to say merch win instead of saying console win. Merch win. Merch win. All right, guys. Hashtag merch win. Let's go. Let's get it going.
All right. Let's see some community questions. I want to try everybody that's in here, including Robbie. Go ahead and see some questions on here that you want to specifically. Let's give them a shout out. Let's say, hey, let's take a second to address some of these questions that you guys see on here. Now, in the meantime, while you guys are searching questions, let me bring this up. Now, is there a plan for the aesthetic to ever change? Because I know using epic assets might be more of an easier thing to do, right? Legacy versus monolith being a little bit more polished, etc. Is that the aesthetic that you guys like, that you guys envision long term? Or is it more of, hey, we're using it because it's a little bit easier and nice quality to use, just for the time being?
Yeah, no, I think I like the way it looks now. So I don't think there's any plans to change it. I think there's definitely improvements that we can make to make the game look much better, but I kind of like the aesthetic. And I also think it gives us like, I thought about this a lot, and I think it was when like Fortnite added like, was it like Rick and Morty? You know how like Rick looks very, have you guys seen the skin in Fortnite? It like looks very different to the game, right? So I was thinking about like, how would stuff like that work in Pred? I don't think it would work, but I think there's ways that we could push the boundaries where it doesn't just have to be in like this kind of box. I think a lot of what the Paragon characters are like kind of in this box. So really want to push outside, but try and kind of fit the aesthetic of the game.
I have one quick question before we jump into the community questions. So I think the big thing is, with you kind of hiring a bunch of artists, is there any eventual plans to kind of revisit this map we have and trying to add some more, not like flavor, kind of like more nature? Because like when people said they missed the old Legacy, the Agoa map, like the really big one, they don't really miss because like the whole like gameplay loop, but because it was a very beautiful map,
like how foliage.
Exactly. And so like what the map we have right now sort of kind of lacks that I guess charm, I guess you can say, with the foliage and all the nature kind of Agoian alien kind of stuff, right? So I'm kind of curious, is there eventual plans to like kind of spice up the nature in the kind of like jungle and just across the map for the one we have right now?
Yeah, definitely. It's not really an area where we've invested, but I think definitely later this year going to be hiring a few people for that area. And like I think we mentioned that we're working on a new game mode as well, so we'll definitely be hiring and kind of growing that team. At the moment it's just Andrea who's working on it, and we haven't really been focusing on the aesthetic. We kind of got it to good enough to ship and then focused on other things that we felt a higher priority. But I definitely don't think we've captured the atmosphere that we want to capture. I definitely think there's a lot of room to improve. I think another area is also the sound of the map. Like it's good, but I think in this coming patch they've reworked most of the sounds. Like they don't sound different, but they've reworked like how it works under the hood, so it should sound better. And now they're going to add in like ambiences, music, and all these other things. So I think you guys will start to see kind of a lot more improvements this year that help improve the feel of the map. And then also once we build out that team, you'll start to see like a lot more visual improvements. But I think the sound will add a lot of value. And then obviously we're working on this new game mode, so that's kind of taken away from any resources we're putting on the current map.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of the current map / new map, right? How much are you guys willing to put into like the current map we have before you just kind of like 5 core game mode map? I don't know if there's a name for you guys' game mode yet, but are you guys kind of set on reworking this map that we have, or are you guys going to make another one?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to make another one. I think it's definitely like we can rework this one. But yeah, I don't think we're making another map anytime soon.
So this is a question that's getting asked a lot in the chat. I don't think you're able to answer this, but I'm going to just ask you anyways. Can you tell us any details on this new game mode? Like, what is it, like 3v3? Is it AMF? Like any details on that? Or you just want to keep a tight lip on that for now?
Yeah, I can tell you it's not ARAM. It's like very unique to a MOBA that I don't think I don't know for sure, but the current iteration, I don't think it's really been done the way we're doing it. So it's very unique to a MOBA. And yeah it's not just a straight ARAM. Like if it was ARAM, we'd have probably shipped it like ages ago, right? Like you're just throwing people like it's not that hard. But this one is very, very different. And I think it's like, I don't know if we don't know. We're not like committed to shipping a new game mode for sure. Like we want to ship a new game mode, but we're still like very early on. Like I think I played a version today. There was a lot of fun moments, but there's also a lot of things that we need to figure out with the game. But yeah, I don't think people are gonna, if we ship the intention that we have for this game mode, I don't think anyone's gonna ever see it coming. And I'm definitely not gonna leak it. So
well, I'm being on the side
like a little bit.
Pardon?
Sorry, you're not even gonna leak like a little bit?
Nope.
You don't have anything? No.
I mean, also it's like super, super early on. So, but the intention is like, it's never really been done the way we've done. Like it's never been done in a MOBA the way we're doing it. So.
Well, I'm really excited to see how it turns out, because I don't know if people know this about me, but I'm very much a casual like player. I love nothing more than just to play casual game mode, turn off my brain and play with buddies. So I'm very excited what you guys are cooking up in there.
Yeah, it's much more like casual. You go in, have fun. Don't have to think too much about the kind of rule set of a 5v5 MOBA. And so I think people will really enjoy it. As like, I don't think it's not designed to take away from the game mode or the main game mode. It's designed to like, hey, I can just jump in this game, have a bit of fun, maybe before or after I finish a few games of the main game mode.
All right, I got one question up here going back to the UI, coming from SwiftX. regarding UI, is there going to be a chance for it to be a customizable UI? Like being able to bring the map, the mini map, like more in the center of the screen, stuff like that.
So yeah, I guess just to clarify, like the new UI is only out of game. It's not in-game UI that we've changed. So
Okay.
it's only like game UI because
Gotcha.
the in-game UI was already compliant.
Got you. Okay.
But like in the future, it will be like you will be able to customize it, but not
Nice.
for like the new UI
Right.
update.
Right. Okay. And then I had one more from chat. Asked a little while ago. We were talking about verticality. They're asking, what are your thoughts on a hero that instead of going up, goes down, like goes underground, and then comes and then pops up, or whatever does their attack or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. It's something I've thought about a lot. I actually think like there was a Paragon hero that never got released that did that. Like he would like turn into a puddle and then like come up.
Okay.
So I think that's actually easier than designing a hero like that flies and stuff. So that might come sooner.
Okay. Nice.
Oh, there will be like an updated scoreboard as well. Actually, I should mention that the scoreboard and I think the shop weren't compliant, so they will be getting updated.
Okay.
Do we know, like, is all the UI stuff / scoreboard, item shop, is all that like, is that like you guys are kind of holding on to that and then you're gonna slam that on season 3, or is that kind of like you're just shoving that out when it gets ready? Do we
You mean like the
can you
new
say?
scoreboard, the new item shop?
Like the UI, like all the kind of the big stuff that's kind of like in the works? Are you guys kind of holding on to that and waiting to play it at the right time, or is that just getting slammed when it's ready?
Yeah, so I think we'll probably ship the UI probably comes in 2 parts. It's like one, all the out of game stuff probably comes sooner, and then we did a little bit of work on the current scoreboard so that it passes for console, and then there'll be another update to the scoreboard very shortly after that with like all the changes that we wanted. So yeah, it'll probably be in 2 stages, and I think the item shop as well will probably come, like the item shop will get adjusted for console from what I remember, and then we're gonna completely redesign that because it's gonna come with some new stuff.
Oh, I see. Shout out to Horatio Dub in the chat. So he's asking, will glossary of terms added in the game that explain items, like having like a little key or a legend towards that some people might not know certain terms in there, right? Like how kind of in the works, or is that more of you have to wait deeper into after the UI is already in there? It's not the plan shortly, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think there's any intentions to put it in the game, and I don't know if that's something we want to do. And the reason is like, I think if you're interested in the terms and stuff, you go to a community site and then you start getting invested in the ecosystem. If we did everything in client, then like I kind of think that defeats the purpose. Like, especially when I was a content creator for Paragon, I liked the fact that not all the information was available, so I could tell people and people will come to my channel and figure it out. And I think that builds community. If we tell everyone everything, then like, why do they need to go elsewhere? How do you foster community? And so I think you need to be careful with giving people everything. And we want to empower you guys to be able to educate people.
Right, and Swiftix actually just tagged me here in the chat. He said we've had an emotes tab in the store now. When is that going to happen? Is it related to the UI? Why we don't have that?
No, like we actually have the emotes, but I think I can't remember what the reason was. I think it was we wanted to ship an emote for every character, so we needed to like finish up the sounds, and then we just decided other things were priority.
Are you saying the emotes are literally like maybe like 3/4 baked, and it's just like, well, you know what? Maybe we could go back and finish those at the right time.
Like someone found a Deca one, like in one of the, like someone posted on Reddit, like the Deca emote was in the game, so they're definitely there. And with all the new heroes that we're shipping, we're doing the emotes as well at the same time. But the issue is we got to go back and do the other ones, and we want to like put in sounds for them and make them sound really cool. So So it's just taking a little bit of time.
Nice. Now, are you good on time? Are you you're chilling?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Let me ask this. So, Crashy kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier in the chat. I'm gonna rephrase his question. Let's say when you do get to free to play, what are some of the aspirations that Predecessor is specifically aiming for? Like, are you specifically aiming for a certain amount of player base? Are you specifically just kind of like, hey, we're just hoping it stays on the rails, get steady, and then go from there? Like, what are some of the goals that you guys have as far as success out of free to play?
Yeah, I think it's definitely like we don't just want to like be stagnant. It's definitely to go big. Like we raised a lot of money. We're working on a ton of things. So the goal is definitely to go big. I think we also have to be realistic. Like MOBAs don't just like blow up overnight. Like it's not a battle royale kind of game. They don't just like catch fire. And so we're definitely setting ourselves up for like continued growth month on month versus like 10 million people day one. So that's more how we see it, but it's definitely to go big, just not kind of big that you see from other genres, right? Because it's MOBAs are a different breed, right?
For sure. And I've seen a couple of comments about this. Could you elaborate on ranked as far as maybe a possible ETA, or your thoughts and or concerns as far as maybe splitting the player base, or maybe it won't affect it for the time that you plan on releasing? Maybe player base will be a little bit healthier then. Do you share some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know what the ETA for ranked is. I know that the priority at the moment is the hero acquisition, the mastery system. I can't remember what's after that. Yeah, but I don't know what the priority on ranked is. And I also think when we do ranked, we want to do it properly in a way that's like, we waited all this time for ranked and it's just this. I definitely want to do it really well. I just don't know when the team plans to do it though.
Spicy.
Mm-hmm.
But you could plug like the PCC. Like if you want to play some ranked, you want some high level games, you should check them guys out.
There we go.
Yeah, no, and PCC, they just announced, was that yesterday? I think yesterday you could start signing up for the next event, PCC 5. So follow them on Twitter, and you know, go get some love over there. Lance Cecil's in chat right now. I saw Choice in chat. I see Jolster's in chat. They're all hanging out. They're all a great part of the community. So definitely go follow PCC on Twitter. There's a spot there you can jump in and you can start signing up if you want to do some ranked. Speaking of ranked, Swiftix did ask, can you let us know, or at least kind of give us some insight, what happened to competitive nights?
Yeah, so competitive nights, I think, was like super interesting. We learned a lot from it. I think the reason, trying to think back now because it's quite a while ago. I can't remember exactly the reason why the team decided to take it down, but
I think it was somewhere along the lines of it just wasn't working as expected, given people doing in there.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact reason, but maybe you're right. But I do think a lot of the interesting things, like I think we should have put in rewards for it. But again, it's like we don't have the capability to put in rewards. We got to do everything manually. And so like building the new UI, part of that is like, okay, when you get a reward, you get a pop-up on your screen, you see all these things, right? And so we're fairly limited. And then I think ultimately we decided that if we wanted to do something, we should just do it like properly. And so I think that's ultimately why we decided to pull it. But I can't remember for sure what the reason was. It's so long ago.
Okay. All right. Mad Cat sent me a message saying, in a recent game, they just came out with an added kill reaction to the game, where if you get killed, you can put a sticker up and the killer is able to see it. Basically, like a kind of like a little funny emote type thing or whatever. It can show you, hey, good job, or like I can't believe you killed me situation. Would you guys be interested in doing something like that?
I guess I would have to see it, but I think we're definitely more open to trying like different things. So yeah.
That comment talking about X Defiant?
Yes.
I don't know. Might be.
Okay, because I know
That's what that is talking about.
Okay. Because I know Xifine added that. Yeah, basically it was 1 through 5 different reactions: angry, happy, surprised, whatever, traditional smiley faces. And if you clicked it fast enough on the kill feed, it would actually show your reaction next to it. Like imagine you just got killed and it's like something stupid that's there for a split second and then it goes away. But kind of entertaining. I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works better in like that fast-paced FPS kind of style. Like in a MOBA, I feel like, I don't know, like it could be cool if done well, but I'd have to see it.
Yeah, I think it had to be done well as well. I'm like when I first read the question before I even read it out loud, I was like thinking, "Ooh, I could see that." I think it also helped breed toxicity, because if somebody just kills you, then you just instantly just spam them like the negative emote in that situation. So I could see it just breeding that. We wouldn't want that. MOBAs are bad enough as it is when it comes to toxicity. So, but yeah, if done right, it could definitely be something that could be positive for sure.
All right, really quick, I see Rez, just general statement that Rez TV made here, saying, I just don't understand why they can't talk about anything, give us something to be excited about other than things are coming at some point in the future. I would say we talked about a lot of spicy shit so far. Definitely rewatch the entire VOD on YouTube if you guys did miss anything. A lot of shit has been leaked here, guys, which, by the way, shout out to you. Luck.
I guess what I would say, since we're talking about that in that situation, though, is because what that comes from is the Q&A that they had with Blood and I'm blanking on his name right now. Thank you. Yep. It just seemed like it was more of like a refresher of like, hey, it's just soon to be coming, right? And this conversation would definitely gave us more of that. It wasn't like, hey, it's soon to be coming. It gave us more of that, like, hey, guys, there's more to it, right? And I think this right here, how Robbie handled this, I think that would have been more of it's a learning experience, I would say. More of how that dev Q&A should have went in more of a situation, not just like in the future. Because a lot of the times, and I love Blood's great. He came on the show with us as well. But it just, a lot of his answers just made it seem like, when PS5 or when the PS6 gets released, that's when we're going to start working on it. It just seemed like it was way in the future. Like, and you're like telling us like a lot of this stuff is actually pretty close. So it definitely gives the community more hope in that situation.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's definitely, you got to strike a fair balance, because I think Joey made a really good point. It's like a lot of the information that we all here today have, a lot of our players aren't following. So like when we do a Q&A, it's not really for this specific subset of players. It's for like the wider audience to be like, hey, I didn't know about this thing, or I didn't watch this podcast. And me coming here is more like, hey, you guys want answers, so that's why I'm here. But the blog post is for a wider audience, and of course we also want to give you guys information, which is why I'm here. But I don't know if like this level of detail is what some of our other players want. And so with the Q&A, was more like, hey, here's a kind of summary of everything that we've done so far. And I think you'll see that from a lot of other game companies, where they don't dive too deep into like the production details or how far, whatever, because most people just want the high level overview. And this is more like, hey, you guys can ask me the questions, I'll give you answers when I can. And so that's kind of how we look at it. So yeah, I definitely think we could do better. I think Blood did a phenomenal job though, and that's on me actually, because I was supposed to do that but I couldn't attend. I had to travel, but I think he did a phenomenal job. I think the learnings I would take out of that is, Blood is a game designer, so it didn't really make sense to send him questions that weren't related to game design. And so we should probably be like, hey, submit your questions, and if they're game design questions, he can answer all those and give you as much information as you want. Instead, a lot of the questions were for me, or like questions that I could answer, and he wasn't really able to. But I still think they did a really great job. And like you said, it's a learning curve. We're all here learning. And so I think the great thing is that you guys are willing to give us feedback, and also we're willing to receive that feedback and act upon it. But I just wanted to clear up, like, the goal for the Q&A was just for like that wider audience, and then me coming here is for more the people that really want to get into the nitty gritty.
Okay. And my rebuttal to that would be is to, in that situation, for those Q&As or the blogs or whatever, for that wider post, I would say to put a little nuggets in there for the community that's like us, so the people that are here now getting this more information, just a little bit, something for us to have, like, okay, like, because we do already know all of that stuff. All right, we already knew it, so there's nothing new for us. So just giving us a little bit of a nugget to kind of sink our teeth into would have been a little bit better in that situation.
Well, be mindful too. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say be mindful too. We all act different when our boss is looking at us. You know what I mean? But if the boss is talking, hey, you know what? He does what he wants. He says what he wants. Like, who's gonna get mad at him? But if our boss is watching.
I'm definitely trying to empower the team, so it's kind of like on me. So I definitely want to empower the team to be able to like have these conversations with you guys and be more open. But like I said, sometimes people are like I said, the boss is watching, but I hope a lot of people at Omeda don't see it like that. But I know they just want to do best for the community. They don't want to spoil surprises and stuff. So I still think the team did a really great job. And if it means me just coming more frequently to chat with you guys, or me doing some Q&As more often, then happy to do that.
Bro, I gotta say thank you again for being here and answering the questions. Because I'll be honest, usually, especially on the higher end of certain games, bro, getting somebody to sit down and actually answer some questions, like, yeah, you know what, just I'll shrug it off to somebody else on the team. You can go handle that shit. Like, actually coming in here, being part of the cooking session, being open to all these questions and stuff, like, major shout out to you, bro. Like, I think people love seeing little things like that out of Omeda, and it reminds them maybe of those original stream on Twitch days, engage with the developers directly, because they almost like they can relate with the whole, this game is by the people for the people, right? As opposed to where I guess some people as of late have felt a little bit more, well, maybe they think they're a little too AAA. Don't forget your roots. Don't forget, hey, like, we're part of the community also. And you coming on here like that actually is putting a lot of faith in people. And honestly, we've learned so fucking much, bro. Like, there's gonna be a lot to fucking talk about for a good minute. So expect to come back.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me, and thank you for supporting the game and building this awesome platform. I know Bearded asked me a while back, but I think I was traveling again at that time. So I definitely do want to get involved and kind of be more vocal where I can. It's just finding the time is difficult, but definitely want to try and, now that we've got like a few more senior people handling things, I find myself with a little bit more time. So definitely want to be more vocal, but then also empowering the team to come on and talk to you about things more openly as well. So I think going forward, we definitely learn a lot. So yeah, I appreciate you guys being open and honest and respectful with your feedback.
Yeah, no, and I reached out to you a while back, after you got on. You were also you're right, you were traveling at that time, weren't able to get you on, and I want to give you a huge shout out and let the community know you're the ones that reached out to me for this one. You came to me and said, hey, when are we available? When's the next one? When are we available? And I gave the time. You're like, all right, let's do it. And so shout out to you for you stepping up and doing that. That to me, that says a lot about the game, that you're able to do this. We had Import coming to me on the last one, the devs and you coming to me and saying, hey, I want to be here. I think that says a lot to what you guys feel about this game, and it should say a lot to the community about you guys. So greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, like, we like live and read this game. It's pretty nuts. Like, I wake up, I like start working on Pred, I finish, I come watch Twitch, you guys, I watch a video, I'll like go back to working on Pred, I'll like bore my girlfriend about it or whatever. Like, it's just like, it's basically our lives. And also the way I got into this was because like someone took away a game that I really loved, right? Like that's basically why I'm here. So I have like the same passion that you guys have, and that I just want to make sure that we're building this thing and it's not going to get taken away again, and also building something that you guys really love and enjoy playing. And also I really love the community aspect. Like that's been me. Like, I obviously had a YouTube channel, I built a community, and I love engaging with the community. I love reading the comments on your guys' video, on my video. Like, I see a ton of names that are familiar, and so I really do love the community aspect. And obviously been super busy, so I haven't had time to really kind of come on podcasts or come on people's videos as much as I wanted to, but trying to find more time for those things when I can. So yeah, it's definitely something that's like really close to my heart. Like Pred is our life. Like it's crazy to say that, and I never thought I would say that about a video game if you asked me like 10 years ago. Like that's crazy, but it is. It's like the whole team like live and breathe this game, and so we just want what's best for it. And so yeah, speaking to you guys, getting your feedback, having a really great relationship, I think is going to lead to us building a really great game. And also I don't really know anyone that's kind of doing something similar in the gaming industry, and I think that's a shame. I think there should be more people building games like this.
All right, there is one question I saw come up, and it really hits home to me, and I want to ask this and get your input on this. Where's Jailer Murdock and Red Death Sev?
I knew this question was going to come up.
Jailer Murdock, I fell in love with it when you guys first showed it off.
You actually liked it?
What Alpha 2? I loved it. Murdock's my boy. That's my most favorite hero. But I'm like,
yeah, I just didn't think it fit the bar of the caliber of skins. Like I think we can have this conversation when we release maybe Lizard, and then you can see the difference in quality, and then you can tell me like, actually you're right. Like Jailer Murdock is nowhere near close, and we can definitely do better.
So they could be a tier 2 skin, then that's fine.
There was some jankiness to it, but it was kind of cool of a concept at least.
Yeah, like now when we make skins, we really care about like clipping and all these other things, and I think Jailer Murdock didn't really fit what I think the bar should be, especially if you guys are paying for something. So we definitely want to make sure that we're delivering you like quality and in exchange for your hard-earned money. And I don't think Jailer Murdock did that, in my opinion. Maybe we give it away for free at some point, but it's not something I really like.
All right. So what you're saying is there's a chance.
There's always a chance.
All right. Good to hear. All right.
I was gonna say I'm gonna bring up something that got mentioned here. I'll find the name here as I'm saying it. So I'd love to get, while we're headed towards wrapping up here, I'd love to get your insight as far as the execution of current events. For example, Greystone v Greystone, fighting for 2 icons, versus the scale that you plan on moving that forward.
Swiftix asked that question.
Thank you.
Is that like more like, are we going to continue doing the events, or like?
So, okay, I'll rephrase. So as far as events like the one that's going on right now, 2 teams kind of fighting up against each other, playing for 2 icons, do you plan on expanding, making it a little bit more lucrative, better rewards, maybe not necessarily just going up against a Greystone or beating a Greystone, maybe incorporating like Countess versus Kira, for example? I thought that was a pretty cool event. Definitely one-sided, but I thought it was a cool event to incorporate little things like that, maybe incorporate a little bit more of the lore. How do you guys plan on expanding on events?
Yeah, I think it's something we want to do more. I think the Greystone one was probably a bit too grindy, if I'm being honest. I think it was a little grindy. I think the next hero has an event. I can't remember what it is, but the goal there is definitely to make it much easier. And also it'd be like super awesome if you guys tell us like, hey, what kind of events do you want to see? What do you think would be cool? And also what kind of rewards you guys would want. I think the easiest thing for us without the new UI has just been profile icons, which is mostly why you're kind of getting those. But once the new UI comes in, not right away, but at some point, once everything is settled, we'll be able to deliver like cooler stuff. Maybe it's like a banner if you win this event or whatever. But for now, it's mostly like, hey, we know that you guys are playing the game, and there's very little like incentive outside of the game being like super awesome and fun. But we want to try and give you guys something that, hey, I was here at this time, I'll never be able to get this icon again, and you can kind of flex on it. And I can't remember if the loading screen has profile icons in it, because I've seen so many different versions of it, but there'll definitely be more ways to kind of show that you were like an early adopter, that you supported the game, that you participated in this event. And when we have profiles, people will be able to see that, and hopefully that's like is meaningful to you guys as well. And then as we expand, we'll obviously increase the kind of rewards that we're able to give out.
All right. I have to ask you, cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Bro, I was trying to avoid asking that question, bro. Lance, oh my God. That thing got spammed 30 billion times in the chat. I've been ignoring that shit for 2 hours.
You gotta ask, all right? Gotta ask. So
Okay, I gotta run. So I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you, Robbie, obviously.
Do your outro.
Anytime. Outro, twitch.tv/Pinzo, youtube.com/Pinzo. You guys know what's up. But I really appreciate you like sitting down, Robbie. I think this was like a really good way for us to like get, you know, I feel like we got more insight like of what we were looking for. So I really am thankful to get that.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
For sure.
Yeah. Thank you for having me also, Bearded, but I do gotta run. So
all good.
Much love, homie.
Pinzo is Dunzo.
All right. Peace, guys.
Peace.
All right, and let's go ahead and start moving towards the outros because we literally could be here for 4 fucking hours, but at this point you're staying up way past your bedtime. You still got to be up at 8?
2:30. Yeah.
Oh man.
So I gotta get up early.
Damn, my dude's about to get 3 hours of sleep. All right, so let's do our outros. Let's go in the specific orders that we got introduced with the exclusion of Pinzo, and just tell people where can they find your stuff because you are a content creator in your own right. People are wondering when the next video is coming, Robbie. And then at the same time, a little message to the community if we could.
Yeah, so I mean, you can find me on RGSace. I think YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. If I ever get better Wi-Fi, I will start streaming on Twitch. And yeah, I just want to say shout out to you guys, Windu, Bearded, Joey, and all the other content creators. Like, really a big fan of your content. We definitely, I said it before, you know, we watch it internally. It's a great way to gather feedback. We have like our own community sentiment reports that we gather, but this is like a really great way to get actual feedback in a nice way where it never feels like disrespectful. It's always really constructive. So shout out to you guys and all the other content creators grinding away. I definitely know what it's like. I know it can definitely be frustrating at times. So I appreciate you guys sticking with us. Thank you for having me kind of on the podcast. Really appreciate it. And to the community, yeah, it's basically the same message. It's thank you guys for sticking with us. I know it's, you know, this is a real early access. I think I said it in the video. I was like, we only really care about the core gameplay loop. There's a lot of things missing. And I think the support that you guys have shown us has been tremendous. It's definitely not gone unnoticed. We're trying to get things out as quickly as possible, but we also want to set ourselves up for future success because, you know, we've all lost this game once before and definitely don't want to be the reason why we lose it again. And so it's always building with like a long-term mentality. But I know it can be frustrating. So appreciate you guys for sticking with us. So yeah, thank you for being awesome.
Appreciate you. Joey?
Yeah, it's just yours truly. I'm over on YouTube. I have a Twitter page, so if you guys are big fans of doggos like Wabi himself, you can definitely go follow, and I'll post some occasional pictures of them. But yeah, thank you so much again, Wabi. This has been a blast talking with you, and I think it's just been a really awesome conversation. Very fortunate we were able to have you today. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right. As for myself, you can catch me obviously here if you're live right now on Kick. This is where I'm going to be at from now on. This is the first affiliate stream. It was awesome. Had a blast. Had a bunch of people in here. The chat was going amazing. This was great. Robbie, again, thank you so much. We know Crashy's a very emotional person. He said it himself, and he's been saying in chat that this has kind of revitalized him. He was getting to a point where he was kind of bummed, and he was in a I don't know. I don't want to say dark state, but he's feeling better now, and that's great to see that we're able to do something like that. So that's awesome. I can't wait to get more of Omeda's team on here. Sergeant Smokey, I'm talking to you, trying to get you out here. Ray, I'm talking to you. Anybody that I've hit up, and you've all told me you've been busy. I understand you're busy, but let's get you out here. I mean, if we get the CEO on here, we can get you guys on here. Come on, right? So. Chat's loving it. I mean, we're getting hashtag my CEO. It's great. This went off as good as better than I thought it could be. So appreciate it. Probably my best episode yet, in my opinion, like what we've done. So appreciate you all.
I see. And then again, I just got to throw it out there, like, clutch as hell, bro. Clutch as hell, Ace, because I was in that bandwagon with Crashy, quite frankly. Like, I'm like, man, I gotta hear something. I gotta hear a little bit more than, you know, we'll tell you about it later. A little bit more than, oh, you know what, soon it'll be coming. So even getting a little bit of insight, a little bit of perspective, and it coming across as real, as authentic as it did, is actually so revitalizing as far as faith goes, and it's so inspiring to continue for content creators to keep making content on it, for viewers to keep tuning in, keep searching on the content and stuff like that, right? Like, it's amazing to see that community engagement coming from the top. And if you guys made it this far in the video, please, regardless of where you are, whether it be live on Kick or whether it be on YouTube, put hashtag my CEO. Let's get that shit covered all the fuck over, bro.
There you go.
That's how we're gonna know if you actually made it that fucking far. Hashtag my CEO. But yeah, as far as my content, you guys can search for Winduthemace pretty much everywhere. As of late, basically made a full-time transition towards YouTube. So just started live streaming over there. Got a couple videos, got a couple different channels. They're all going to be listed in the description. But I just want to say I really appreciate the community coming out and providing questions, insights, feedback. Everybody behaved great in the chat. We didn't have any fucking riots that we had to try and calm down and shit like that, right? I saw a couple people trying to start a summon wave, but nah, like, do the hashtag my CEO wave. That shit's better. But we appreciate you guys. And if you guys want Ace to come down the road, please let us know in the comments as well. The more upvotes shit like that gets, the more likeliness he'll come by. And we will catch you all on the next episode. We appreciate everybody stopping by. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.